Hey, blessings and welcome to today's Law Enforcement Daily Devotional. Today we're in Isaiah chapter 44 through 47. Today is a reading that every time I come to this, I think back on a sermon I heard many years ago from a very renowned preacher that I respect a lot. Um, and he's from California. I'm from Texas, so that kind of tells you if I'm listening to somebody from California, I must really think a lot of him, and I do. But anyhow, he told or he gave a sermon about this verse and just unpacked the amount of prophecy that was fulfilled in this passage or in this set of passages. And I've always remembered. I took a lot of notes. And anyway, I'm going to pass some of that on to you today. And I tell you all this to let you know that these weren't things that I figured out. I'm passing on things that were passed on to me. And that's, the Bible is very clear on that. We celebrate God's different days, like even though we don't celebrate Passover, we celebrate other things like Easter. But Passover was a celebration for the purpose of passing on the stories and the remembrances, that we would continue to remember the great things that God has done for his people. So remembering and passing on are very big in God's economy, and that's why we're doing what we're doing, to teach each other, to sharpen, to learn. So any questions, just like yesterday, look over there, Chuck at fcpo.org, and let me know. Also, if I missed something, or if you've got a question about something I said and, ask me if that was right, please let me know, because I may have to go back and look and go, ooh, I did misstate that. I'm not beyond making mistakes. I make them all the time. Just ask my wife. Anyway, I don't want to waste too much time. Chapter 44, verse 28. Such an interesting statement here. He mentions the name of a guy called Cyrus. And the guy's not just called Cyrus. We learn in 45 that God actually named him. But Cyrus is this name that pops up about this person that God's going to use. And God often uses people to carry out his plans or to push forward his agenda. And God's going to use Cyrus. We'll learn later on that Cyrus was a Persian, and he became king, and his army defeated Babylon, which was the greatest kingdom of the earth. And then Cyrus kind of just took over all of the populated known world. Later on, Cyrus would authorize the rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem, of God's very own temple. God says he is my servant, but then later on, and I can't remember, I think it's 45 verse 5, but I didn't write that down. God says, I will use him though he will not know me. God can use anybody, whether you're a Christian and you worship him, or you're an absolute pagan. God can use the pagan to do whatever he wants. God used Pharaoh to bring the Israelites to an understanding of who God was through all the miraculous signs. God used Pilate when Jesus was crucified. I mean, God uses a lot of different people, and here he uses this guy named Cyrus. The incredible thing we learn about Cyrus is, beyond all these predictions of he will defeat Babylon, and there's a lot that's in here, is the fact that this guy Cyrus is not even born yet. Cyrus won't be born for 200 years. But Isaiah correctly prophesies the exact name, the things he'll do. I mean, it's all fulfilled, and it's incredible. So it's a really neat story, and if you did not read ahead or read today's reading, chapters 44 through 47, I would encourage you to go back and read them. They're really cool. One quick note in chapter 45, verses 9 and 10. I think this is really important for us to understand, and you can even say this is our takeaway for the day. Cyrus is going to be someone who does not know God, but God's going to use him. Even though Cyrus will rebuild the temple, Cyrus is going to do a lot of things that a Jew or a Hebrew would sit back and go, he's not one of us. God, why are you using this guy? and would really question God, and to a point of even being angry at God for using Cyrus. So Isaiah seems to insert this verse, or these two verses in here, because he knows this is going to happen. And verse 9 and 10 says, "Woe to the one who quarrels with his maker. An earthenware vessel among the vessels of earth." In other words, we're just clay pots. He's the guy who crafts and makes the clay pots. How can this clay pot say to the master, "What are you doing? Why'd you make that?" I mean, we have no place, no authority. God's the authority. He's the creator. Anyway, it goes on to say, will the clay say to the potter, "What are you doing?" Or the thing you are making say, in other words, making the clay say, "He has no hands." Woe to him who says to the father, "What are you begetting?" Or to a woman, "To what are you giving birth?" God's the creator, not us, and it's not up to us to question why God does what he does. He is the ultimate authority, and we are in submission to our great God and creator. Cool takeaway. Don't quarrel with God. God's sovereign. Nothing that goes on this earth takes him by surprise. This is his plan he's working out. We're just blessed to be able to come alongside and be his chosen. Tomorrow we're in Isaiah 48 through 51. So read ahead, read the cool story. Let's come back here tomorrow and see what kind of takeaway we have. Until then, be blessed.